What's up, everyone? How you doing? It's your girl, Terrible Hime, and I'm here for the long-awaited gym tour video. Thank you so much to everyone that requested this. Finally getting around to it. It's been a bit since you've last seen the gym, and we have made a couple very minor tweaks, but today I just want to go around, show you all the equipment we have, at least all the main pieces, talk about what I like and what I don't like about them, and then give you a little bit of a story time about how we acquired all of this stuff, because the TLDR is that we did not purchase all of it ourselves. And then lastly, I think I want to give maybe a few suggestions for people that are interested in building out their own home gym. So let's get started. Okay, the first piece of equipment we have over here is a treadmill. It's right at the bottom of the stairs when you walk into our basement. This is the True TM 22x60 treadmill, and it goes up to 12 miles per hour. It also goes up to a 12% incline. It does not have like a video screen, but it does have like an LED screen. And one minor change you might see in this area is that we have moved a smaller TV onto the wall so that I can use an HDMI cable from my computer and watch things while I use the treadmill. I am using the treadmill a lot more lately, and I actually was using it quite a bit while I was in my fat loss phase, and I am hoping to do a fitness update next week to talk a little bit about why I am using that treadmill more. I will say that this treadmill is fine. It's not great, but it's also a much older piece of equipment. I want to say it's maybe like 5+ years old. I think most of like the newer treadmills do come with like the video screen and stuff like that, but it gets the job done and I already have it, so no reason for me to spend money on something else. I also really don't know much about this brand, True. I haven't really heard of it besides having this treadmill, so couldn't tell you if it was a good brand or not. I think probably the best for most home users is likely to be Nordic Track. But anyways, like I said, gets the job done. Let's move on. So down here, I just have an Adidas small flat bench. Not sure where it came from, to be honest, had it a long time. It's another item in the gym that kind of isn't great, but gets the job done. It's honestly not very sturdy if you're pushing a lot of weight. It feels a little bit sketchy, but for like dumbbells, and it's pretty okay. I think that this was probably purchased at like a Sports Authority or something. Shout out if y'all remember Sports Authority, because it's been a minute. Okay, here we have the Cybex Eagle leg extension machine. I'm sure if you've been watching my fitness vlogs, you've seen me using this. It's quite a good machine, in my opinion. A commercial gym caliber of machine. The only thing that I don't love about it is the range of motion. For me personally, I'm a little bit more on the flexible side, so my quads are not really getting stretched in the down position, and that's why I tend to use like these yoga blocks against my shin to push my shins farther back and really stretch out the quad. But other than that, I really like this machine. It goes from 30 pounds up to 290 pounds, you know, in machine weight, and you can change the increments by every 5 pounds, I think. Yeah, because it has like an adjustment thing where you can go like 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So yeah, a really good machine. It also does have a lot of adjustments you can make here, and I've already adjusted it to my size and still I can't get a stretch in my quads. But other than that, love it. It's really smooth. It works really well, even though we got it under slightly not ideal circumstances. Okay, and here we have, by the way, I have my phone here so I get the exact item right. This is the Rogue Fitness RM-4BT Monster 2.0 rack. On this rack, we have J-cups, safety straps, the single pull-up bar, the skinny one. We also have a landmine attachment down here and the adjustable monolift attachments. We also have plate storage, which is like another separate attachment. And for the bar in the rack, this is the Rogue Ohio Power Bar. And this bar down here in the landmine attachment is just a really basic Olympic lifting bar, kind of no brand, I think. This also might have been a Sports Authority purchase. The plates that we have, some of them are a little mismatched because I've purchased some at like thrift stores. I've gotten some really small plates online, but the majority of the plates that you see, these like kind of like gray metal ones, those are the Hampton cast grip plates. And we have 6 45-pound plates, 2 35-pound plates, 2 25-pound plates, 2 10-pound plates, 2 5-pound plates, and 2 2.5-pound plates in that Hampton line. But like I said, we do have a couple other random weight plates hanging around. So when Joe and I were first putting together our home gym, Rogue Fitness was one of the only brands that was available for like home use. We were putting together our gym like well before the pandemic. I have no regrets, but there are a lot of options out there now that might be a little more affordable than Rogue. But I really love the quality. I love the amount of good quality attachments you can get. I love that you can change the color. Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Rogue Fitness and their products in general. I would say the standout things about our setup is that we specifically got the monolift arms for bench pressing. A lot of people use them for squats, like squatting really heavy weight, but we specifically got it for bench pressing because I have some elbow issues and it really takes a lot of the strain off of my elbows, which I love. I also think if you are going to buy a power rack for home use, the safety straps are my preferred safety. You can also get like a bar or kind of like a small, almost like a J cup, but longer. But I think the safety strap is like really, really good. It gives you a little bit more leeway. If you accidentally squat too deep and you hit your safeties, it doesn't really like completely mess you up or throw you off. So yeah, overall, really love this rack, and it's come with us through 3 or 4 moves. It's really easy to set up for 2 people, and it's also like not enormously heavy, but it feels really sturdy, and it's good for our use cases. Next up. Okay, this here is the Cybex Eagle seated leg curl machine. I also want to mention that I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between the Cybex Eagle machines and other Cybex machines. Could be anything. It might just mean that they all match in color. I have no idea. This is just what we have. But This is a seated leg curl machine. Like I said, if you've seen my fitness vlogs, I'm sure that you've seen me using this. Most of the time, I'm trying to use one leg at a time for unilateral work, and it's a little messy, but it gets the job done. I honestly don't really have any complaints about this machine. I think it's a really good leg curl machine. It's very adjustable, like here and here and here, and how far down you can put the pad. It goes from 30 pounds to 190 pounds, and you can make the 5-pound adjustments just like with the leg extension machine. I find that I get a really, really good stretch on this, and I love that for me. So this machine just like really blasts my hamstrings a lot. Personally, I prefer a seated leg curl machine, but the seated and the laying both have benefits. But yeah, I just really like this machine a lot. I'm glad to have it in my gym because I really don't like free weight leg exercises, and I do a lot of my leg work on machines now. Next up. Okay, this here is the Cybex Eagle hip abduction and adduction machine. So you can switch between adduction and abduction, which is really awesome. Goes from 30 to 190 pounds at 5-pound intervals, which is also great. My only complaint about this machine, and I think this is something that all of these types of machines suffer from, is that when I'm here at the bottom of the hip abduction movement, my knees are not being pushed together. So there's like kind of a gap when I put tension, there's kind of a gap, but ideally I would like to have as much range of motion as possible. But like I said, I think that's just an issue with this machine, this type of machine in general, not this one specifically. Other than that, I really like it. It's nice to have both in one machine. Takes up a little bit less space, even though it is kind of a big footprint. The back is also adjustable. It goes up and down, but I typically keep it in this position. Sometimes if I'm feeling lazy, like I don't want to set up a different adjustable bench, I will use this also to do like concentration curls or like preacher curls, but obviously only one hand at a time. So really like this machine. It's a good one also. I don't have much bad stuff to say about the Cybex machines in general. I think they are very good, but I also did not pay for them. And I'm not sure that if I were to, start from scratch, I'm not sure that I would pay for them. I'm actually not sure how much they cost now. Okay, last of the leg machines. This is the Cybex Eagle leg press. In this specific leg press, your feet are stationary, although you can adjust the plate back and forth. And when you push off, the back of the chair moves. And this goes from 30 to 490 pounds at 5-pound intervals. Quite a nice machine, very stable. This was incredibly hard to move because of how much weight is on it, but I am very thankful to have a leg press machine. I do wish that I could get the foot plate a little bit closer to my body, but overall it does have a really good range of motion, and you can adjust it like I said, but if you adjust it from here, it shortens your range of motion, if that makes sense. For our machine in particular, when we were moving it, we lost a piece and we had to find it online. We purchased it online. So sometimes the inner workings are not working 100% right, but that's an us problem. It's not the fault of the machine or the build. Okie dokie, back here in the corner, this is the Tuff, Tuff CXT-100 corner multifunctional trainer. So this is a cable machine, and I do want to like call out a couple of the attachments that we have, but I know for a fact that this specific multifunctional trainer is no longer available. I've tried to find it before. The company is still around as far as I know, and they do have like similar models, but this model in particular is not available. So the stacks, each stack goes from 10 pounds down to 150 or up to 150 pounds, but it has a weight conversion ratio where in one position, the weight lifted is 50% of the selected weight per side. And in the other position, the weight lifted is exactly the weight selected, if that makes sense. I am honestly like, I think that we have it set to half of the selected weight, and we don't really change it around because, I mean, personally speaking, I'm not a super strong person. I don't need a ton of weight. And honestly, for some of the smaller muscle groups, like my front, lateral, rear delts, I need to use like very close to no weight, or the least amount of weight I can do on this machine. This is a really nice machine because you can attach handles here, top in the middle, to the outside, and this handle moves up and down. And it also has an attachment point down here in the bottom middle. It also has a pull-up bar. So there's really a lot you can do with this machine. It came with quite a few handles. So a lot of these like little handles that are for one arm. It also came with a couple bars, a couple rope attachments, but some of the attachments I have purchased myself include these Vulcan, I don't know if you would consider this like a rope, but it's like a fabric attachment, and I have two of them, a large one and a small one. They both have two handles each. These I think are really good. I've also purchased my own leg cuffs, which I think are really nice, not just for leg exercises, but for taking your grip out of things like rear delts, shoulders. And I think the last one I want to point out is this V handle grip. It has kind of like a rotating joint here. And then this is really good for like rows and pull downs if you want to use a close grip. So while the stuff that came with the machine is all really nice, I think adding some extra attachments was a really good choice for us. It gives us a little bit more functionality and options. Sometimes, because this machine only goes in like 10-pound increments, so like 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. Sometimes we'll use like our 5-pound and 2.5-pound Hampton plates and just kind of like hang them off of the peg, which I would not really recommend doing at a commercial gym, but we are in our own home, so I'm willing to take the risk. I have definitely cracked the floor tile, dropping some of these little weights off of the peg, so definitely be careful about that. But overall, really love having a cable machine. It's so multifunctional, as the name says, and it's really allowed us to be able to train our back muscles much better than if we didn't have it, I guess is what I would say. A lot of times, like if you only have like a very limited amount of equipment, it can be difficult to hit like your lats unless you're doing a lot of pull-ups, or if you have like a band situation, but I don't love the force curve on bands. Okay, tiny shout out. We have these two small stacks of the Step. That's literally what it's called, the Step. I got both of these on Amazon. You know, this is kind of like what you would use during aerobic workouts, like from back in the 80s, or I mean, people might do it now, but these are really good for us as people that are not super tall. Sometimes we will use these to support our feet while we're doing stuff on a bench. Sometimes I will use it to get a deeper stretch for hamstring exercises like RDLs. And we also will put the top of this up against the bottom of the cable machine to help brace when we're doing exercise that are seated on the ground, like face pulls, rows, and stuff like that. So these were not that expensive, I think maybe $50 per stack, but they were a really good investment for us and our situation in our home gym. Okay, down here on the floor, we have the Rogue Ohio deadlift bar. So what makes a deadlift bar different than a power bar is the springiness of it. So this bar is a little bit more flexible than the bar that we have in the rack. When you're lifting heavier weights and you pull it off the floor, I don't know how to explain it. I don't think I can show it because I don't really lift that heavy, but like the weights will hold the ends down and the middle will start to come up, and then the ends will follow, and it'll give you kind of a little bit more feedback, I think. But the other difference is in the knurling. So I didn't show it on the other bar, but the other bar has some knurling right here in the middle. But this one, because you're using it for deadlifting where you're probably gonna be pulling the bar up your leg, it has no knurling from here to here, which is really nice. However, if you are a sumo deadlifter or you practice the sumo deadlift, you do get scratched up on the outside. So I have like my beater leggings that are kind of cheap and thick that I don't mind roughing up on the knurling of this bar, which is quite intense, I will say. It really like digs into your hand and your legs if you happen to touch it. I don't think you can see it. Maybe I can pull it off. On this bar, we have kind of like more expensive Rogue collars. Or is that what this is called? So they're metal and they have like rubber stoppers, and I think the stoppers are replaceable. We bought these at the Rogue store in Ohio, but we specifically have these on the deadlift bar because the weight is more likely to kind of migrate over time because it's heavier and you're lifting it a little bit more dynamically as opposed to like benching and squatting and stuff like that. So yeah, we have the more heavy duty lifting collars on this bar in particular. Let me show you the last little area. Okay, this is, I would say, the last major area of equipment in our home gym, and this is like our dumbbell station. Here we have the adjustable Powerblock dumbbells. These go from 15 pounds to 90 pounds each. I think that is like a base set plus the expansion. Down here I have another small set of power blocks, and these go from 6 pounds to 24 pounds each. We also have some other like assorted dumbbells that like don't really matter that much. I think that both of these models of power blocks are no longer available. They are quite old, especially these are quite old. I wanna say like 10 plus years old. But personally speaking, I really like the Powerblock adjustable dumbbells because they go so high, up to 90 pounds each, which is pretty rare for an adjustable dumbbell you can buy for a home gym. The mechanism to adjust them takes some getting used to, and I would not necessarily recommend these dumbbells for people that work out alone, but if you have a workout partner or you're just super, super cautious, I think they are a really good option. The reason I don't necessarily recommend these dumbbells if you work out alone is because of the way that they kind of have your hand encapsulated. If you were to do an exercise and fail on a weight, there is a chance that you can't drop the dumbbell, and you could honestly really injure yourself if you failed incorrectly. And in fact, Joey did injure his shoulder that way one time, where he was doing kind of a seated shoulder press and his arm just kind of stopped working, and the dumbbell wrenched his arm backwards and he wasn't able to drop it. Luckily, he wasn't like severely injured, and he was actually working out with somebody else. They just didn't really catch it in time because it was like such a sudden failure. But yeah, they are good, and I've never injured myself using them, but it's definitely a possibility. But at the same time, a lot of people injure themselves in the gym doing a lot of different things. And yeah, I think they're a really good option, very space saving. They have a nice range, but there are other adjustable dumbbells on the market now. I will say, when we bought these, this was one of the few options that was out there. I think the only other one was the Bowflex like ratcheting dumbbells, and like those are terrible. I hate those. Those are really bad. These at least are kind of compact, and they're less likely to fail mechanically. I did forget one thing that I wanted to show you, so let me take you over there now. Okay, so now you can see me. This is actually, I think, our most recent home gym purchase. This is the Rogue adjustable bench, I'm not sure what specific model this is. Currently on their website, the 3.0 is out, but this might actually be a 2.0. I don't remember specifically. This is just like a really good, really sturdy, pretty basic adjustable bench. It's very heavy. We had a different one for a long time that was so unstable. It was so wobbly. I hated it. We actually purchased this in person the last time we went to the Arnold. I like that the back is adjustable and the seat is adjustable. It does have wheels here, and yeah, the pad is actually like quite sticky, which is good in my opinion, because you can really like lock in. I think the only personal complaint that I have as like a somewhat smaller person, the width of the bench sometimes is a little too wide for me. Like I feel like I can't always get as deep of a stretch in my chest press as maybe I would like. But overall, I do think this is like a really good, really solid bench. If you are maybe newer to the gym and haven't built up a lot of strength, I'm not sure that I would necessarily recommend it, because it is quite heavy to move around, even with the wheels, and it does have a handle on the end. But yeah, it's pretty heavy. A lot of times I don't want to move it, and I'll just like leave it where it is. But I think that is the last of like all the major equipment. We do have some other random stuff, little bits and bobs in the gym. If you saw something that I didn't talk about, leave me a comment and I can let you know what it is. I will try to leave a list of the equipment in the description in case you want the exact number, but I'm sure that I put it on the screen as well. I guess I wanted to explain a little bit how we got a lot of this equipment, because as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we did not purchase most of it. So I will tell you, first of all, what Joey and I purchased with our own money, and that is the Rogue Power Rack and all the accessories for that, including both of the barbells, both Rogue barbells and the Rogue bench, and all those like little weight plates that I mentioned. Other than that, all the major equipment kind of came to us like as a gift or through a series of fortunate/unfortunate events. So the treadmill, the True treadmill, the No brand barbell, all the Hampton plates, the cable machine, and most of the cable machine accessories were given to us by Joey's parents, who had a very large house with an area for a gym, and they purchased equipment for that gym and did not use it very often. So when they didn't even like leave that house at the time. When we moved into the house that we were in before this, they gifted us the cable machine. And when we moved into this house, they also gave us the treadmill. Yeah, so those things were just like given to us for free from Joey's parents. Thank you so much, Joey's parents, because I love this cable machine and the treadmill's been working out really well for me right now in this phase of my life. The Cybex Eagle leg machines were also kind of given to us. Joey's best friend's wife is a physical therapist who works at a physical therapy office, and their office had these leg machines in it, for rehabilitation purposes. The office was flooded. I don't remember specifically. It was either a pipe burst or somebody in a different office left the water on, and their office, which was on like the ground floor, was completely flooded. Joey's friend's wife messaged us and was like, do you want this leg equipment? If you come and get it now, you can have it for free. And we rented a truck, and I texted him. I texted my friend Chris, my strong friend Chris, and asked him if he could come help us move these machines, and we brought them home. The only thing that we ourselves were not able to move was the leg press because it's so heavy. So we did hire movers to get that for us, but everything else we kind of like took apart as much as we could and loaded it up in the truck and brought it home. So yeah, we got all of these Cybex Eagle leg machines for not very much money, definitely way less than what they're worth. I don't know for sure, but I think perhaps it was an insurance thing that the physical therapy office was probably getting all of their equipment replaced, and they just needed to get the old stuff out because it's not necessarily like safe for use because it was water damaged. But we have had no issues except for the leg press, which we ourselves kind of messed up because we lost a piece. I guess the only other thing that I would mention is that a lot of the flooring in this gym, these like black rubber mats, some of them were purchased by us from like Tractor Supply stores. I think over on this side, this is all Tractor Supply store rubber mats, but we have an IRL friend who also has a home gym that ordered a bunch of rubber matting, like specific gym rubber flooring for his own gym, and he over ordered and he didn't want to send it back, so he gave us like all the stuff on that side with the leg extension and the leg curl and the power rack. All of that rubber flooring was gifted to us as well. So the power blocks, the larger set of power blocks also came from Joey's parents. The smaller set I purchased. The steppers, you can't see them, but I purchased those steppers. But yeah, a large portion of our home gym came to us from other people, and we are very, very thankful because it has allowed us to just like chill at home and make gains, and it's been really nice. The reason we kind of started building out a home gym was in our previous house. We did have a commercial gym that we really loved that was right down the street. It was like a great atmosphere. They had a lot of good equipment. It wasn't like crazy busy, but literally overnight they closed. And they didn't even tell the trainers. It was crazy. We showed up one day and like all the windows had newspaper on them. It was crazy. So the gym that we were going to closed overnight, and there weren't any other gyms in the area. So we just decided to start investing in a home gym. And that's when we purchased the Rogue Power Rack. And then we've been accumulating other stuff ever since. Okay. The last thing I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about were my personal recommendations for a home gym. And I'm going to caveat this by saying you need to know your fitness level, and you also need to know what you're training for. One thing that I think anybody who wants to get working out at home definitely needs a good set of dumbbells. I like the Powerblocks, like I mentioned, but there are other options out there. If you are somebody that is already super strong, Powerblocks might be the best option for you, or you could go with buying individual pairs of dumbbells, which can get quite expensive and space consuming. But if you are somebody that's kind of just starting out, I think there are a lot of nice options that kind of go from a low weight up to like 40 or 50 pounds that you honestly might not need to upgrade from for a very long time. So good set or sets of dumbbells is also kind of like a non-negotiable. You can do so much with them. You can basically work every muscle group with a set of dumbbells, even your back. Like if you're doing bent over rows or single arm bench supported rows, something like that, you can basically hit every muscle group with a good set of dumbbells. Obviously, if you are a power lifter, you need to have a power rack. I don't necessarily think you need to get a Rogue power rack. There are tons of great options available nowadays that are much less expensive, although I do love Rogue products. But if you are a power lifter, or you are somebody focused on building strength in the deadlift, squat, and bench press, and even overhead press, standing overhead press, power rack is non-negotiable. And I think you also need to invest in a good bench and a good bar and a decent set of plates, obviously. So number one recommendation for people that want to do powerlifting, 100% a power rack. Personally speaking, I love a cable machine. If you are more interested in like bodybuilding or hypertrophy, I think a cable machine is a really, really good option. But it is one of the more expensive pieces of equipment that you can get for a home gym. There are some alternatives though. There are, I want to say, like plate loaded pulley systems that you can purchase, or honestly you can make yourself. A lot of companies that do power racks have cable or pulley system attachments nowadays. I know Rogue has a few. I personally haven't used them. I really like the cable machine we have because the force curve is very smooth. The force curve is very even, and the movement of the machine is actually very smooth. And I like that it has the ability to use two hands at the same time. So I use that a lot for like my lateral raises, when I'm coming from back to front, for pull downs, like a wide grip pull down. I don't know. Very, 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 very multifunctional. Anything else beyond that is kind of like extra stuff. Like all these leg machines are really, really, really nice to have. But if you're willing to do free weight movements with your barbell or with your dumbbell, they're not really necessary. But you know, if you've been working out at home for a long time without these kind of machines and you go to a commercial gym, boy, you're gonna be blasted. Like, oh my God, it's crazy. Even though I do have these machines, if I go to a commercial gym, I'm messed up for like a week. So number one recommendation for a home gym is definitely dumbbells. And then depending on your specific goals and needs, you might want to go with a power rack, barbell, weight plates, or you might want to go with cable machine. There are other less expensive options, alternatives to like a cable machine. Rubber bands, like the thick rubber bands and like the bands with the handle on them. But yeah, the force curve on those is just like not super great. They're really hard at the bottom, but not very difficult in the stretched position, which is kind of the opposite of what you want for muscle building and strength. But those are just my thoughts and feelings. I hope this video was helpful and informative, and maybe you took something away from it. Like I said, I will list out all the equipment in the description. Not necessarily going to be able to find links to everything because a lot of this stuff has been in our house for a long time and is no longer available. But if I can find a link, I'll leave it for you. Let me know in the comments if you have a home gym or if you would like to build yourself a home gym, and what would be the first piece of equipment you would purchase for that home gym? I'm very curious. I want to know how other people feel. And I think that's it for the video. Be on the lookout. Like I mentioned, I'm hoping to do kind of like a fitness update next week. Unfortunately, I can only do like one video a week because of just real life, having a full-time job and all that. But hopefully another fitness vlog is coming up. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to be responsible for your own gains, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.